My dad used to be a yellow-haired punk. My mom was a landmine-style girl from Donda University. When I was little, they suddenly learned I was the male lead of a capture-target romance novel. My dad slapped the table in outrage. Our son has to be a power fantasy male lead. Right. We need to give him a few beautiful and badass older sisters and spoil him rotten. Luckily, my dad had not lost his mind completely. He said any kids born later would probably be younger sisters. My mom instantly deflated. Younger sisters are no good. They help outsiders bully their older brothers. Like in those reland fake young master novels, you know? Then what about a younger brother? That is even worse. He would steal his fiancée while setting him up. So they had to find another way. And while they were brainstorming, I had already finished my homework. I brought it over for them to check, and every answer was right. I had even caught a few mistakes made by the question writers. Seeing that, my dad smacked his forehead. Honey, how is our son this much of a genius? Could he be the legendary overpowered chosen one hero? That makes sense. No wonder he was born into our family. Isn't this that comeback plot thing? So my parents decided not to give me older sisters after all. They wanted to send me to a top university, somewhere like Beiqing University, then have me marry into the world of rich young ladies. But my parents were not exactly educated. They had no idea where to start. Their biggest hobbies, besides listening to Xinci novels, were filming videos together on the platform. You could say they had nothing to do with power fantasies. One day, I came home from school and found them arguing. The reason was that my mom had been reading a melodramatic period novel lately. After finishing it, she suddenly wanted to open a shop, but she was short on startup capital. So, she was thinking about how to get the money. Wait, so why open a shop? I stared at them with my round little eyes, completely confused. My mom came over, patted my head, and explained. Because your dad and I thought it over. Those overpowered chosen one heroes are always handsome and rich. And all you are missing is money. Hearing that, I looked at them both with a very serious face. If you really want to open a shop, then Dad is not allowed to buy game gear anymore. And Mom, you have to stop getting your nails done for now. Why? Because I am the male lead, so you have to listen to me. As I said it, I puffed out my chest, lifted my chin, and planted my hands on my hips. My face was full of righteous confidence. My dad and Mom bit their little handkerchiefs and sulked for ages. In the end, they reluctantly gave in. After the two of them turned over a new leaf, people around them talked plenty behind their backs. After work, my mom stopped going to the nail salon with her close girlfriends. Those Annies got passive-aggressive. Look at the beauty queen, all frugal and domestic now. How virtuous. And my dad started playing only little free games. His workmate rolled his eyes. Now you are putting on an act, but you will not last 2 days. So, to make sure they truly reformed, I gave them a mental pep talk. Do you know why protagonists are protagonists? Because they never just go with the flow. The path of the brave is always lonely. Right. That makes us wriggle forward heroes. They listen with tears shining in their eyes. Because of that, more than half a year later, they finally saved enough startup capital and opened a tiny breakfast shop. The business got running. Whether it made money was another matter. But I was very happy, since the shop was right downstairs in our old residential complex. I could see them every day on my way to and from school. When they were busy enough to lose their heads, I often came over to lend a hand. But my mom always hurried to chase me away. I refused to listen, so she and Dad scolded me together. As it turned out, my parents had made the right decision. Our breakfast shop had heavy foot traffic. There was not much competition either. And since my mom was a good cook, word of mouth spread. Our shop soon turned a profit. My dad looked at the income, twice as high as his own salary, and tears streamed down his face. That very night, he wrote a glowing 1,000-character review for the author who had taught them how to open a shop. Once the money was earned, the next step was spending it. But they still wanted to spend it on me. Whether to send me to learn the arts or martial arts, though. The two of them argued again. In the end, they argued so much they forgot to cook. I got so hungry I nearly passed out on the spot. When they found me and rushed me to the hospital, the doctors discovered I had low blood sugar. On top of that, I had a whole list of minor problems I was born with. Lying in the hospital bed, half asleep and half awake, I remembered many things from before. I was born premature. Back then, our family was not well off, and my mom's pregnancy had been rough. Before giving birth to me, she even had a fight with my maternal grandparents. In today's terms, my mom was kind of love-brained. But everyone has their own circumstances. No one can say that in her place. they would definitely have done better than she did. My mom never regretted marrying my dad. Her only regret was not being able to give me a healthy body. When I woke up again, my dad and mom were both keeping watch by my bed. They obediently listened as the doctor scolded them. Yes, 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 we will be careful once we get home. We will bring him for a checkup every year from now on. Do not just rely on food. You also need to take him out to exercise often. Aerobics, jogging, things like that. They kept nodding. Their eyes were full of guilt when they looked at me, like children who had caused trouble. I looked at them and softly said I was fine. After that, I lay there on for drip, eating fruit, while they brought up the earlier topic again. Boys should learn music. It is elegant and handsome. Girls love that. What use is that? He should train in martial arts, strong and fierce. So as they talked, the two of them started arguing again. In the end, for fairness, my mom had me try a few classes at a nearby music club and martial arts school. As it turned out, I had no musical talent at all. But I made the martial arts instructor's eyes light up. So I started learning martial arts. After that, I trained while studying. For years later, I earned my blue belt. I also got into a good school with the top score in the whole county. But the school was a little far from home, so I had to board there. So on the first day of school, my parents hugged me and cried their hearts out. Honey, you take him. I cannot bear it. Honey, I cannot bear it either. How about we do not let our son go? Absolutely not. In the end, both of them took me there. When it was time to say goodbye, my mom fussed over me with endless reminders. Little Yuan, if a girl comes after you, you must check whether she is a real heiress or a fake heiress switched at birth. What are you even saying? Before she could finish, my dad dragged her away. But not long after school started, they received a call from my homeroom teacher. Could both guardians come to the school when you have time? Fang Yuan got into a conflict with a girl at school. He says she bullied him. What? Bullied him? Has the campus romance heroine already appeared? We are not ready yet. My mom was shocked when she heard, but they could not both leave the shop. So my mom volunteered and told dad to stay home. She wanted to personally meet this future daughter-in-law. When she arrived, I immediately went up to complain. Mom, she is the one who bullied me. My mom glanced at the girl's face and actually looked a little delighted. What kind of bullying? She almost broke my hand. You little brat, which hand did you use? The girl's face was still swollen, but her expression was still asking for a smack. You dare touch me? I am warning you. My dad owns a company. Which company? Come on, let me look it up. The girl suddenly grew uneasy, but she still forced herself to rattle off a name. My mom checked and found it had already gone bankrupt 2 years ago. So my mom stopped being polite right there. And here I thought you were some rich young lady. You still dared to bully my son. If you do not have a mirror at home, at least you have a puddle of piss to look into, right? So young, and already up to no good. At this rate, even pulling strings will not get you into a factory someday. My mom was still unloading on her. Everyone in the office listened in stunned silence. Even the homeroom teacher could not stop her. Only when the girl's parents rushed over, she finally relented and took a sip of water. By then, the girl had been scolded to tears by my mom. Seeing that, her parents accused my mom of going too far even though she was in the right. Mom refused to back down and entered attack mode again. How am I going too far? My son was nearly killed. I could absolutely file a police report. You should be grateful I have not. And one last warning. I only have this one son in my whole life. If anyone dares bully him again, I will not let it slide. Watching my mom protect me with everything she had, looking a little disheveled, my heart clenched hard. So I stepped forward and tugged at her sleeve. Mom, my hand is fine, really. She looked at me, and her eyes softened at once. Then she pulled me tightly into her arms. Afterward, I walked her to the station for the ride home. On the way, she was still grumbling. Birds of a feather really do flock together. People like that can never be my daughter-in-law. Mom, if she really had been rich enough, would she have been allowed to bully me? Not exactly. Little Yuan, I was actually very beautiful when I was young. Back then, there was a customer who looked very rich. He kept pursuing me, saying he would put me in a big villa. But he was too ugly, so I was not interested. Then he started pestering me nonstop. In the end, your dad stepped in when he saw me being wronged and drove him off. I fell in love at first sight right then. Who cared whether he had money or not? I insisted on being with him, and we stayed together all the way to today. We walked all the way to the station. Before we parted, I looked at my mom with a serious face. Mom, when I grow up, you and Dad will not have to work so hard. You can close the breakfast shop, then sleep in and get your nails done every day. My mom smiled and patted my shoulder. But little Yuan, I am already very happy. You have to be happier than I am, because you are the male lead. After that, I settled into a steady routine of studying. Though those days were dull, I still kept going. But the last time my mom caused a scene at school, word of it somehow spread through the whole school. So in many people's eyes, I became a ruthless school tyrant, and my mom became the tiger mom who raised a school tyrant. But because of that, no one dared bully me again. So I could keep studying in peace. My grades stayed in the top 3 of my year. Every so often, I even won certificates and scholarships. I became the kid every parent compares theirs to. Of course, thriving along with me was our family business. 2 years later, we moved into a new home and said goodbye to the old place. On the day we moved in, my mom sat in the bright, spacious living room and burst into tears. As she cried, she clung to the floor-to-ceiling windows. Honey, I never thought I would have a day like this. Let me see who dares laugh at me now. Saying I'm married badly. I am living better than both my younger brothers now. My dad was not like my mom, but he was still in the corner, sniffling, while leaving another glowing review for that author. Thank you, dear author. I have come back to give thanks again. We followed your novel and made money step by step. We even bought a home. When our son gets into Beiqing University, I will come back to give thanks again. I looked at the two of them, who seemed a little unhinged with joy, and gave a soft cough. All right, Mom, Dad. Moving into a new home is a good thing. Think about our housewarming banquet. Be happy. After that, we held the housewarming banquet. We did not have many relatives. Even my maternal grandparents, who had always clashed with my dad, came. But once they all arrived, we finally understood what they were there for. After the banquet, my maternal grandmother looked at one of our rooms and tugged at my mom's sleeve. Daughter, you still have an empty room here. Yes, right now I share a room with my husband. Little Yuan has his own room, and we plan to make this one a study. When my grandmother heard that, she shook her head and sighed. Little Yuan is not usually home anyway. It is such a waste to leave this room unused. Daughter, actually, these past few years, your dad and I have not been in good health. No, my mom refused very firmly. My maternal grandparents' faces turned livid. When they left, they kept muttering that my mom was unfilial. But on the other side, my dad had been pulled onto the balcony by my paternal aunt. I could not hear what they were saying, but I watched helplessly as Dad pulled a thick wad of cash from his pocket. Just looking at it made my heart ache. It was true our family had made money these past few years, but every cent had been earned the hard way. Besides, buying the house had already used up most of it. What on earth had happened for my aunt to ask Dad for money? Unease settled in my chest. I wanted to pull them out of that crowd, but Mom stopped me with a single look, so I could only shut myself in my room. By the time they called me out, it was already night. When I came out, I saw them silently cleaning up the mess left after the family banquet. There was no smile on either of their faces. That day, we all went to bed early, but even with the living room between us, I could still faintly hear them arguing. I had long been used to their little arguments every few days, but this time, they chose to keep me away from it. So the real fights, they had never wanted me to know about. The next day, I returned to school and kept preparing for exams. Later, Mom could not hold out against my maternal grandparents, so my maternal grandfather moved in first. As for my aunt, I also learned that my aunt's husband owed money outside the family, which was why they had no choice but to ask us for help, because Dad did not want the study taken over, and Mom did not want our family's money flowing out. The two of them fell into a rare Cold War. Even business at the breakfast shop was affected. But I was so buried in exam review that my head was spinning, so I had no time to step in. Fortunately, nothing went wrong for me in the exam room, especially in the physical education exam, where I scored full marks in several events. The teacher leading our group looked at me with open curiosity. When she found out I had trained in martial arts, she was even more surprised. She praised my parents for their foresight, and my thoughts drifted back to an afternoon in my childhood. At the time, I was practicing kicks in the training hall. Mom and Dad were secretly watching me from a corner. Wow, honey, our son is so handsome. Handsome how? Aren't you afraid he will grow up with too much muscle, and no girls will like him? So, what if they don't? Being strong and healthy matters most. Thinking of that, I could not help smiling faintly. Right, they both loved me very much. It was just that beyond our small family, they each had relatives bound to them by blood. Those bonds, even when they carried pain, were not so easy to sever. In the end, the more you try to untangle them, the messier they get. When I came home, the total household chaos I had expected never happened. Only after asking did I learn that my maternal grandfather disliked noise, and he also had a habit of sleeping a lot. So he banned my parents from playing novels out loud at home. This made my parents suffer terribly. They could only complain behind his back. How is it noisy? It is not even as loud as listening to an opera. After the exam results came out, my aunt suddenly brought my younger cousin to our home. My parents thought they had finally gotten through their crisis and had come to repay the money. They were thrilled. But then my aunt pushed my younger cousin in front of me. "Little Yuan, I heard you came first in the exam. Congratulations. You have nothing to do over summer break anyway. Why not tutor your younger cousin a little?" Hearing that, my dad shot up in anger. "No. I just signed him up for summer camp. When he gets back, he still has art and swimming lessons. He has no time." "Brother, what is wrong with letting him teach his cousin for 10 days or half a month? He is not a stranger. Do not raise the boy to be heartless to his own family. What good are high grades then?" After saying that, my aunt glared at my dad in anger. While they were arguing on that side, my mom's phone rang. It was my maternal grandmother calling. "Daughter, little Yuan is home, right?" "Mom, what is it this time? I know a business owner here. She has a daughter." "Mom, have you lost your mind? How old is little Yuan?" My mom cut her off, sounding close to a breakdown. But my grandmother still would not let it go. "Still young?" "At little Yuan's age. In the old days, he would already be raising 2 children. Did you to not meet around this age too? It was fine for you, but not for him? Stop dragging your feet. I have already taken the money. Hurry up and have him meet her." Hearing that, Mom and my grandmother immediately started arguing. Just as everything descended into complete chaos, my maternal grandfather came out with a livid face. "What are you all yelling about? Is anyone supposed to sleep around here?" My parents finally snapped. After that, they kicked out my aunt and my maternal grandfather. As they were sending them away, my dad even boldly pulled a few bills out of my aunt's pocket. "This is 300. You still owe our family 49,800. Go back and tell your husband not to even think about dodging it. Next time, pay back everything you owe in one go. Otherwise, we will sue." After they left, Mom and Dad leaned against each other and collapsed on the sofa, looking utterly exhausted. I fanned them for a long time, before they finally came back to themselves. "We really kicked out your sister and my mom. If it were only borrowing money, fine. But they actually dared to target little Yuan." "Exactly. I could put up with everything else. But little Yuan is so young, and they want him to go on a matchmaking date. I could not stand that either." As they spoke, both of them sighed. Watching them, my heart ached a little. So I moved closer and hugged them. Mom rubbed her eyes, a little embarrassed. When I used to read power fantasy novels, the biased parents would cry and beg for forgiveness. It felt so satisfying to read. Only when it happened to me did I realize, why would biased people ever regret it? They only think they have not leached off me hard enough. Dad nodded in agreement too. So fiction is fiction, and life is life. I used to keep imagining I was some lost young master. But when I open my eyes, I still have to wash and chop vegetables. From now on, we will stop reading that stuff. None of it is real anyway. Reading too much of it messes with your head. They said they would stop, and they did. Because I handed them a phone. "Dad, that urban superpower novel you were following just updated." "No way." After 800 years, the author finally updated. As Dad said that, he sprang straight up from the sofa and came back to life. After that whole mess, our home finally became completely peaceful, but our reputation among the relatives was completely ruined. Mom and Dad did not care about that. They even left the extended family group chat without hesitation. Every day, they only popped up in our small loving family chat. Now and then, they shared some wild web novels they were following. Because of this, I came to understand one thing. As long as you have no morals, other people's moral attacks can never hurt you. Later, my parents wanted to send me to private school. I worried it would strain our family's finances, so I told Dad I did not want to go. But Dad just patted my head. "Are you silly? It is expensive for a reason. Your mom and I know you are a light sleeper. You never slept well in that 8-person dorm before. But you were afraid we would worry, so you never said anything. Now we can afford to support you. Why make yourself suffer when you don't have to? Besides, Maybe you will meet plenty of rich young ladies there. Then your mom can finally put that worry to rest." Hearing that, I could not help lowering my head. "But you are both so good to me. I am afraid I will drag you down, or even fail to live up to your hopes." "What burden? There is no burden. You are my son. Everything in this family was always yours to begin with. But I am not as smart as the people in those novels. What if I do not get into Beiqing University in the end? Then go to another school. What is there to fear? As long as you do not become a shut-in like me. What if I never meet a rich young lady? Then marry a good girl who knows how to care for a family. It is not like we cannot support her. Then what if I do not like girls?" At that question, Dad suddenly froze. He stared at me in shock, then turned around. "Honey, this is bad. Little Yuan, he." "No, Dad, I was joking." After that, I went to private school. Things went smoothly, because the scholarship was quite generous. It did not add much burden to the family. Although later, I did not get into Beiqing University. I still got into a school in that city. After Mom and Dad heard the news, they happily held a school admission banquet for me. But this time, they only invited a few neighbors we were close with. When they went up to give speeches, many people cried. One after another, they gave me blessings and gifts. I was so happy that I raised my glass high. I clearly wanted to smile, yet my eyes had gone a little red. "Sorry, Dad, this time, you cannot go back to give thanks. That author's book was taken down half a year ago." Dad shrugged, a trace of regret flashing in his eyes. But more than that, he looked relieved, because they had already raised me. When it came time to choose a major, Mom and Dad had another small argument. In the end, I chose aerospace engineering. After that, my major classes were so brutal that my hairline started receding. Mom and Dad's days, on the other hand, became leisurely. So, like other people's parents, they unlocked a side quest, pressuring me to get married. Dad was not too bad, but Mom insisted on forwarding me a novel every night. She would tell me how happy the couples were after marriage, and things like how important it was to choose the right person. I was extremely busy, so I had no choice but to politely turn her down. Then Mom asked me, "Are there no girls actively chasing you?" "No, there are not many girls in my major, and they are wary of each other, afraid someone will steal their jobs later." "It is fine, little Yuan. You can look around other classes and other schools. Go to more singles mixers too. Maybe we'll meet some rich young lady you were meant to find." Reading that, I was pretty speechless. All I could do was send her a good night message, then fall straight asleep. After that, seeing I still made no progress, she actually went quiet for a while. But I do not know if Dad said something to her. One early morning, she suddenly sent me a message. "Baby, do not feel pressured. I have been learning some new things lately. Before, I was not thoughtful enough. I made things difficult for you. Actually, society is more open now. Every orientation should be accepted. If you absolutely have to bring that kind of young master home, I can accept it too." What is she even talking about? After reading the message, I almost had a breakdown. So, in my junior year, in a fit of frustration, I started dating a senior schoolmate in her final year. That summer, I brought her home to meet my parents. She was a real local, and her family was loaded. Mom and Dad were moved to tears. They immediately served her our shop's signature xiaolongbao. That night, my parents excitedly posted a video with the caption, "At last, we have our rich young lady daughter-in-law. Our son has made us so proud. May everyone become the hero of their own life." Then I saw that all the comments under the video were negative. Before long, Mom and Dad teamed up and deleted all those comments. Dad even looked at me with proud arrogance. "Those people are just NPCs jealous of us." I was truly speechless. But my relationship with that senior schoolmate did not last long. Behind my back, she found someone new. But the collapse of that relationship was something I had sensed coming. It was never love at first sight, nor were we a case of feelings growing over time. It was simply that, in those dull years, she happened to run into me, and I happened to meet her. On the day we broke up, I was watching a movie with her. Halfway through, she went to the restroom and left her phone behind. By accident, I saw her chat history with another guy. I wanted him to marry me as soon as he graduated, but he insisted on taking the postgraduate entrance exam, and he actually got in. He clearly does not take me seriously at all. His personality is stubborn too. There is nothing charming about him. Aside from that face, he is completely useless. As for his parents, so shabby and poor. When we met, they actually served me buns they made themselves. Who would care about that stuff? When she came back down the aisle, There was clear panic on her face. I forced down my disgust and handed the phone back to her. We are breaking up. Fang Yuan, listen to me explain. I shook her off hard. Maybe other things could have left room to talk. But insulting my parents? Never. Afterward, I was depressed for a long time. So I threw myself into the library. I studied so hard I forgot to eat or sleep, day and night. When I got tired, I would stare at myself in the mirror and sigh inwardly. Maybe I was never a likable person to begin with. A main character hero. An overpowered chosen one hero. That was just the fantasy Mom and Dad saw through their rose-colored filter. The real me was introverted, a little dull, and bad at socializing. From childhood to adulthood, I never had many friends. Nor had I met a lover who truly understood me. And I had never managed to live up to my parents' expectations. Mom and Dad found out about it 2 months later. I hid the truth and only said our personalities did not match. I did not want them rushing off to confront her in anger. But they grew even more upset, crying as they blamed themselves. Baby, did we do something wrong? Did we make her unhappy? Or did her family look down on us and refuse to be connected to us as in-laws? You are so outstanding. Did we hold you back? I pulled out tissues, just like when I was little, and gently wiped away their tears bit by bit. No, I never thought they were noble, and I never thought you were not good enough. Some people are just arrogant. They are not meant for us. Before, you always hoped good things would happen to me, so I would not have to work hard all my life the way you did. But life is not that easy. Maybe having you as my parents already used up all my luck, but I have figured it out. I do not have to get married. I can spend my whole life with the aerospace field instead. Give me your blessing, Mom and Dad. Baby, you have not sworn off love, have you? No. Thriving on my own is fine too. After that, Mom never shared another romance novel with me, and my life returned to peace. After graduation, I entered the Design Institute as an overtime workhorse. That feeling of burning myself out for a career I loved often fascinated me. Then, in my 3rd year, I met another companion who was burning her life alongside me. After asking around, I realized she had actually been my former classmate. She remembered me, but my memory of her was vague. I stared at our graduation photo for ages before I finally remembered. We were assigned to the same project team. We often sat together brainstorming. To my surprise, our personalities fit well. During New Year, I rode home in her car. When Mom discovered this, she grabbed my arm and shook it for a long time. She nearly shook my brain loose, but I still said seriously, Xinci and I have only been dating for a month. Do not scare her. That is not the point. You said she was your former classmate. She is not the one who bullied you, is she? No way. Not even for a second chance romance chase husband plot. Mom looked at me with a grave expression. I could only helplessly explain that she was from the private school. Hearing that, Mom was overjoyed and welcomed Shang Xinci warmly. A few years later, my career was thriving, and Shang Xinci and I ended our dating relationship by registering our marriage and stepping into married life. Shang Xinci's parents were both teachers. They were modest and approachable. They could not stop praising our shop Xiaolongbao. It was a marriage match both families were happy with. On the wedding day, Mom wore a fresh manicure. Dad wore a boutonniere too. Then he gave a deeply heartfelt speech for us. Honored guest, dear family and friends. Hello, everyone. I am the groom's father. Ever since he was little, we thought our son was a power fantasy male lead. But we could not bear to let him suffer. We only wanted him safe and happy. We were not very educated, so we kept the breakfast shop going and helped him live like the protagonist. Later, we finally understood that dignity does not come from status, and he taught us that if you stand on your own without shame, any path can be a good one. Fang Yuan, you are our main character hero. We are proud of how outstanding you are. Although the audience below was completely lost, they still clapped with great support. Shang Xinci clapped the hardest of all. She even secretly nudged me with her elbow. Baby, I had no idea you were this impressive. After the wedding, Shang Xinci and I were both workaholics. Even so, we planned for a child. Back when Mom gave birth to me, things had not gone smoothly. So at first, I was a little anxious. But thankfully, everything went very smoothly. So, we gave him the nickname Little Fu. In this life, we did not wish for wealth or status, only that he have more blessings than worries. Later, the city center back home gradually shifted elsewhere. The breakfast shop's business was affected too. It became much quieter. Mom and Dad simply closed up shop for good. and went off to pursue what they loved. Dad bought an electric guitar and got into rock music. Mom also became a video influencer beloved by middle-aged viewers. When Shang Xinci placed little Fu in their arms, Mom suddenly sighed. What a pity. He is a boy. Shang Xinci and I both froze inside. Then we saw her lift her eyes and softly finish the thought. We cannot give him a few beautiful and badass older sisters to spoil him absolutely rotten. So our little Fu can be a happy only child too.